Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're here. Another month has passed, and it's another Off the Tools live webinar with myself, Mr. Wayne Bettis, and Mr. Andy Jones. Still ain't got
Evening,
sound
everyone.
Woo-woo.
Right, drop a hello in the chat. I'm gonna Wayne's gonna take the lead to start with. I'll be covering any questions in the chat. Obviously, introduce yourselves. Let us know if you are using a software at the minute or not, and if you are using one, what software you are currently using.
Okay, there we go. Straight in. No mucking about, no mincing about by Andy tonight. It's all in. Can someone just write in that they can hear us, just so we 100% sure? People are saying hi, so I'm pretty sure that indicates that we are being live. So thanks again for choosing to spend your Tuesday evening with myself and Andy. It does mean a lot that people show up and watch this and obviously hopefully find some value. As anyone that knows me knows that, you know, I'm an honest bloke. I sort of wear my heart on my sleeve. For some reason, I am really nervous today. I don't know why, because ServiceMate is like something that I've talked about, promoted, and done loads like for the last sort of 6-7 years. So I have no idea why I've got these little bits of nerves tonight, but I'm sure they will pass as soon as I get into full flow. But just in case you see me like stuttering a little bit, that might be why, but I can already feel them going. So that's good. So the purpose of tonight, let's see if some comments come in. Andy, you just keep an eye on the comments, yeah, and just point out anything that's important to me while I sort of just flow into it. For anyone that is watching, if anyone needs to leave, this will be available on demand. Basically, you just click on the same link that how you got here tonight will then take you to the video once we finish tonight, and then it will be able to be viewed there. So job management. Okay, so tonight obviously we're going to be focusing around ServiceMate, but everything that we're going to be talking about and showing today is fundamentally, it's a job management system. So if by the end of this that you're like, ServiceMate maybe isn't for you or whatever, there's still going to be tons of value here that you can take away with any job management system that you're going to be using. Hopefully we show you enough to make you want to come over to ServiceMate, because we believe that for the area of business that we're focused on, you know, trades and construction, this is the best in class for its price and for its functionality, and it's sort of non-technical, you know, like there are other softwares that are technically better, but you need a degree in bloody computer science to understand it and actually implement it. So for us, this is an all-round package. I'm not going to bore you with a slideshow. I was going to do a little slideshow on what ServiceMate is, but to be honest, I'm just going to quickly talk through what it is rather than bore everyone with a slideshow. So ServiceMate is an Australian-based company, but it covers the whole world. You know, it's multinational. Every continent, I think, has a ServiceMate. It's built with, so anyone that's in the gas industry, for example, will have heard of like gas engineer software. Okay, so that obviously by definition was built for gas engineers. Then there's an electrical ones, but ServiceMate's approach was take trades and construction as a whole. So what that allows us to do is it gives us a core function of software, but it allows you to customize lots of elements to it to suit your specific business. So if you're an electrician, if you're a landscaper, if you're a builder, if you're I don't know, a painter and decorator, a plumber, you know, it can work for any of those businesses. And anyone that has listened to Off the Tools, the podcast, or have communicated with myself or Andy over the years, you will know that we know that there's not a one solution to software, as in, you know, ServiceMate is best in class for job management, but Xero or QuickBooks is the best for accounting, and SalesLion and things like that are best for marketing, and Quotient for quoting. So don't be under the illusion that ServiceMate will do everything for you, because if you're not using any software, then yes, it will get you 99% of the way there. But longer term, you need something called a software stack which is where you stack up a few different softwares that link together to create the ultimate system that helps you oil that machine of your business. So ServiceMate, though, its core function is job management. So the idea of it is that you can create quotes. So you start a job at one end of the system, you book it in, so it's your diary, and then you sort of can send quotes through it. You can send communications, text messaging and emailing. You can book the job in the diary. It sends out reminders and all of this fancy stuff, and then takes you through so that on the phone end, so the engineers out on site can take pictures, can fill out all your paperwork, all customized and branded, which I'm going to show you all of this. I'm just giving you a very quick overview. And it takes it all the way to the point of sending the invoice. You can actually take payments through the software as well. So you can take card payments, contactless. You can record, so like record a payment if someone's paid you cash, or not. I don't think anyone accepts checks anymore, but if you did, you can record that you've received the check. And ultimately, it takes that customer through the whole journey from start to finish from a job perspective. On top of that, obviously, it starts to record all of the data. So the more times that you go to a property or a customer, you start to build up this history of what's been done, who's been there, and it logs everything from the travel time to, you can use it to log materials, time spent away from site. So if you've got to travel to pick up materials and stuff, it can log all of that side of the system of what you need as well. There's so much to it. I'm going to try my best to get through all of the main functions today. And I'm going to share my ServiceMate with you now so you can see it live in action. Some of the things that I explain, I may have to come back. So I've tried to make it semi-organized in regards to like keeping it as a flow of a job, but some parts of the system just need a little bit more sort of going back to if I don't quite nail it in the first visit. So let's just have a quick look. So a couple of people have said that they're using ServiceMate already. Someone said QuickBooks. Okay, we're a quiet bunch tonight. So feel free to post questions as we're going. Who in here isn't using software? Yeah, that's a great question. So if you're not using any software at the minute, and I don't personally class QuickBooks or Xero as a sort of, that's a necessity, especially with like the Making Tax Digital. What we mean is like job management systems, really. So let's just dive in. Let's get straight into it. At any point, any questions, post it in here, and Andy will keep a record and he'll bring anything up that needs to be brought up, and then there'll be plenty of time for a bit of a Q&A at the end. I plan to run until about 8 o'clock, so this part will probably take me about half an hour to sort of rattle through and try and get as much information out of me as possible, and then that leaves us sort of 20 minutes or so for a bit of a Q&A. So let me get sharing my screen. Let me just make sure we are ready. Okay. Here we go. There we go. You can see me. All right. Let's see. Is that view better? That's probably better, isn't it? Bigger screen. People might be on their phones and stuff. So, right. Okay. So when you log into ServiceMate, let me just kickstart with this, because there's a lot of people get a little bit concerned with ServiceMate because it's like some people think you have to pay someone to set it up. Yes, you can, and myself and Andy, we're approved partners and we can do setups, but you can you can start using it yourself. So don't let that be an excuse not to get started. I just wanted to make that point, but we can offer services like that to get going. So when you log in, first of all, you land on this sort of social feed, I guess is probably the easiest way to describe it. It's basically it's just a bit of a news feed on what's going on in the business. People within the business can leave comments and and post anything that's relevant. I personally don't use it much in my business, but I know other people do. I believe you do, Andy, don't you? Don't you guys post quite a lot on your feed bit?
Yeah, we really capitalize on that. We have because we have a girl who does the evening admin work. She does 5 till 9, and she works from home. So it's really useful to have a communication board on there, and then you can tag. Obviously, you can see there, you can hashtag it and type in the job number, and that creates a direct link straight to the job in question. And then, as Wayne's showing you now, if you do an @ you can either tag the team or you can tag individual members. So let's say, for example, one of the admin ladies might want to tag a particular engineer. So they can do that, and then they will get a notification.
Yeah. Okay. So that's just like a rolling news feed. So the more you use it, the more information that's there. And it, obviously, if you tag someone, they get a notification which comes up here. I'm going to go through these top bars here first, then we'll get into the back end a little bit of where the sort of fun stuff happens. So this is classed as the home screen. Okay. You've obviously got quick fire buttons up here that can take you to specific areas of the system. The most important part, I guess, is the dispatch board. So the dispatch board basically is where all your jobs are booked. There's multiple different views, so you can actually view it as a map. So if I let that load, sorry if it's a bit slow, you can see where jobs are marked on the job on the map. Then there's a task list here, so you can assign tasks. Engineers can assign tasks, or office people can assign tasks. Then you have the calendar view, and then within the calendar view, you can view it in a day, week, 2 week, or month. There's a feature called recurring jobs, which we'll jump back to, but basically I don't actually use it because we use SalesLine and we find it better, but you can set it so like your annual services are set on recurring yearly jobs, and that again makes it a lot less hassle for you guys to have to create the job and things like that. Then you have a different view here. So this is just the same principle as the calendar, but just in a different view, and you can view it in a week, 2 week, month, day. The more staff you have, the better this view becomes, because you sort of start to see their day go through. Then you have a section called queues, which are in essence, I don't know why they're called queues. They should be just called folders. So if you look up here, you've got these folders here. You can have none, or you can have 100. You can label them whatever you want. So they're very good for like organizational. If you imagine in like an old office, you'd have pigeonholes, wouldn't you? In like on the wall, and at different stages, someone will put it in someone's pigeonhole. That's how I treat these folders, or what they call queues. So that is your like dispatch board. We are going to be coming back to this section in a second, but I just want to get through all of the different stages. So then you have the invoicing section here. So this just gives you some data. Sorry, the internet is going very slow. You can see a basic summary here. You can see all of your invoices, whether they're paid or not, awaiting approval. So I have it set so that we have to manually approve it to our invoice, our zero, but you can have it so they're automatically approved. Then you can keep track of who owes you money. So if anyone owes you money, that will show up here. And then there's again a paid section here where you can just filter through all of the different payment people that have paid. Then you've got reports. So this report section has had a revamp this year. I think it was in September, wasn't it? So before, you had all of these settings up here. So you could look at the different categories. You could look at by month and start tracking and monitoring your data. What's cool now is you can actually sort of talk to the system. It has AI built in. So you can actually ask for a certain type of report and it will produce the report. So this is one that I did here. So this was just how separate the jobs per category, which categories will make more sense as we go through the demo this morning. And you can
just to jump in on you there.
Yes, mate.
Just a couple of points. One, it can do a lot in that AI section. So for example, if you were trying to track a specific engineer, you can ask it to give you the revenue generated by a specific engineer over the last 12-month period, which is a nice touch. I did want to just step in to say, if people all comment on the size of their business, so we're not wasting anyone else's time talking about things that might not suit your business, for example. So if people can just drop a comment in the chat and let us know, obviously, what's in your business, who's in your business, how many members of staff, and if you've got an admin person as well, so that we can obviously gear the session towards what's going to be the most effective use of the software, because it, like Wayne said before, it's a very, very big software. Some people are familiar with maybe using like Gas Engineer software or something, which literally just very, very basic. It does your forms, it does your reminders. But this is an expansive piece of software that can be molded to suit your business. So give us all a little bit of info on the size of your business, how many field staff and how many admin staff, if any. Sorry, mate.
I'll let you keep track of the answers to that, Andy, because I can't see the comments in the view that I'm in at the minute, unfortunately. And if I can't even see myself at the minute either, which drives me crazy because I never know if I'm looking the right direction. It looks like my internet is deciding to play up. So I'll come back to this report. I'm just going to carry on with the settings here. So if we go into the main settings area now, okay. So this is where all of the back end. So what I've just shown you there is like your front end, basic, very quick overview. I will dive deeper on how to create jobs and stuff shortly, but I just wanted to showcase some of the back end to show you the sort of more finer details of what goes on behind here. So there's a whole section called ServiceMate add-ons. So depending on what package you're on, some add-ons are just turned off and they're free and you could just turn them on. Some add-ons are only available on certain packages. So when you sign up, that will be more clear. It will tell you what's included and what's not. But like if you look here, job costings is only available on the premium plan. Most of them are free. Most of them are just included. But you need to go through all of these add-ons and turn on anything that you feel is going to add value to the business. As you can see, I've got most of them on. And then now what's even more exciting. So about 5 years ago, there was very limited third-party add-ons, whereas now, over the last couple of years, there has been a massive influx of third-party add-ons. The only one I use is Zapier, but there are so many now for all different things. You can have purchase orders, ground plans, Birdie, I don't even know what that is. There's loads, PDF tools, customer portals. So these are chargeable, obviously, because they're third party, so they're not included. But the reason I wanted to showcase this is that the software is getting more and more open. So it's getting developed by third parties, which just make it stronger and stronger. So there's now a stock unification. So there's a stock system now that you can do. Service contracts. I've actually got a meeting with the guy that created this. So hopefully it's as good as he's told me it is. And it will be something that we can start to talk more about on the Wayne's World Wednesdays and on the podcast. It says it's free, but it's not. So my guess is anyone that says it's free is just because they're going to charge you outside of the software rather than via the software. But you can see there's literally loads there. So that's the add-on section. You need to make sure you go through and look at all of that because the system, without turning on a lot of these, the system's quite basic. So you need to make sure that you're turning everything on that you're going to use. API keys, again, a fairly new feature. So anyone that is half technical, well, maybe a lot technical, API keys are basically like secret codes that let you talk to other systems. So again, this was a new update that come out in September. You used to have to be registered as a developer to get API keys, but now it's open to everybody. So if you do have any technical knowledge or know someone that has, they can build custom integrations with different softwares and things. There's a feature called assets, which is basically you order QR codes through ServiceMate, and then you can apply that QR code to, say, a boiler or a fuse board or whatever it might be in your business, and you can log the details of that asset against the customer, so that when you come to fill out certificates and look at any history or anything like that, you've got all of the details that you need. Then you've got the cool part, which I like, which is the automations. So I'm going to go into the automation section. So just for the record, I don't use the assets because for me, just to write the boiler and make a model when we go and service it or whatever, it isn't a big deal. But I know some people like to have a full log of everything that's going on in the business. Here's the automations that we've got built within ServiceMate. So you can see, look at these are thousands. Let's say like 4,500, 7,500, 18,000. These automations are working bloody hard day in, day out. So I've currently got like my annual boiler reminder, job follow-up, service plan reminder, booking confirmations, booking reminders. We don't use the customer feedback because it's not that good. So this is something we do on SalesLion. Obviously payment follow-ups and quote follow-ups, and you can build custom ones as well. There are some limitations. You've got to remember, this isn't a marketing software. This is a job management system. So it has sort of fairly strict rules on like what you're allowed to do. Then you have something called badges, which basically are ways of identifying certain key information on a job. So for us, you have a badge for all of the different forms that we have, so we can assign that badge to a job. We also have a care plan, one that we assign to the customer, so that at a quick glance, we know that that customer is a service plan customer. We also, for the automations that we have, there's badges for here. You can create your own badge. So if you've got something specific like collect keys, or I don't know, or dangerous dog, or whatever it might be that you want people to be aware of, you can simply just add a badge. And then again, where you see those badges will make more sense as we go through. All right. Let me get back here. So custom fields, that's only available. I'm only seeing that because I'm a partner. Basically, it's like extra levels of settings in a job, which I've only used a couple of times for clients. I don't use it, but it can have some cool functionality, but I'm not going to waste too much time on that because that's a little bit sort of next level sort of stuff. Then we have job categories. So it's very important that you categorize the jobs that you're doing, so that the reports and things like that are showing you the relevant information when you're looking at reports. And it's also, you need that for any automations that you're doing through third-party software. Materials and services, so you can add all your materials and costings and everything here, so that when you're creating invoices, it's a lot easier to bring up that information. You can import as well, I believe. Yeah, so if you can get like Williams's product catalog or something like that, you can import that in and get started. Job queue, so these were them folders. I don't know if you remember on the dashboard where we had the folders. So for us, we've only got a few. So that one can actually be removed. I must have just done that to show. But it is simple. You can create it. So let's just make up for Andy to look at something as simple as that, right? And then I want it to notify Andy within 1 day if it's not been actioned. We can save that. And that will now, when we go back to the dispatch board later, you'll see that there's now a folder ready for Andy. And we can also build custom automations in SalesLion or through Zapier with folders. So you can think outside the box. You could have a folder, for example, that is an upsell for a power flush. So then if you assign that customer into that folder, it would then fire off an automation based on whatever it is that you built it for. Obviously, that's taking the system, when you start using third-party softwares like SalesLion and stuff, is taking it to the next level. I call it putting it on steroids. So it's not going to be for everybody, but as people's businesses grow, and obviously everyone's at different stages, I just want to make sure that you can see the capabilities of what is possible, as well as what is just sort of standard to the system. Then we have security roles. So if you've got staff or an apprentice or engineers, if you don't want them to see certain information, basically you can use the default settings here. So obviously these are like generically built, but you can also build your own ones. That they're quite complicated, so we try to encourage people just to use the standard ones that are built in. But like, for example, if you've got a contractor and you don't want them to see any of the pricing, for example, you can just choose strict contractor down here, and then that just limits what the person can see when they log in on their phone or on their laptop from their end. Let's get back here. So that's security role. So staff here. So this is just simply where you add and manage your staff. So if I click on here, you can see the staff. So if I just click into my name here, so obviously you've got all your details here. Thank God my password didn't come up then. Luckily it's blurred out. You can choose whether to show the staff on the dispatch board or not. So obviously if you've got an office person, they're not needed to be displayed on the on the dashboard. But if you've got an engineer, then obviously you're going to want them on. You can set their default labor rates, and you can actually choose from many different icons. It covers all races and creeds and colors and types. So there should be one there that suits what your person looks like, hopefully. You go, auto route home address. I didn't know that. So that's again a new feature. So you can put the home address in. So the system now has built-in auto routing that you can utilize, which I'll get to in a little while. Excuse me. And it looks like now you can add an address. So then it factors in where that engineer is starting from and going home to.
And you can choose within the software as well. You can choose within the software if the engineer will be traveling to his jobs from the office or from his home address.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Is already going to be in the system, but you can add individual home addresses for individual engineers. I imagine like our businesses, most of you guys, the lads are going to set off from their home address in the morning, so you can add that in, and then the auto route will work to perfect the travel of the day, so they're not going sort of from here to here to here again. It will create the appropriate route for them that saves them the most amount of travel time.
Brilliant. So again, for the one-man band, probably not that valuable, but if you've got 1, 2, 5 people out on the road, this can start to save a lot of time and effort, can't it? So again, one for the future for some people, but might be something that people can utilize straight away. In here, you can add your license number. So for gas safe or whatever specific to your industry, if there's a specific license number, you can put in here, which will then propagate into any forms and stuff that you do. You can add just your staff leave. So if you want to add a holiday, again, this extra bit is a new feature. You can actually just tell it now because it's built in AI. So you could say book out every Wednesday at 7:30 because you want to go on Wayne's World Wednesday if you're a member of Alliance. And then that will populate that into the diary on autopilot. So it makes it nice and simple to add that. ServiceMate offers online booking. So within each staff member, you can choose which online booking is available for that member of staff. So if you've got someone that's just a plumber, obviously you don't want people booking gas safety checks or vice versa. So again, a bit of customization to make sure that your business is being operated correctly. Now we get into the form section. So forms are a bit of a gray area on ServiceMate. So some softwares out there have forms built in as standard, right? Because it's built for like CommuSoft or Gas Engineer software. Obviously, they're built for that specific industry. ServiceMate isn't built for a specific industry. So forms aren't built into the system. You can build your own, but it is quite technical. You have to do it on like a Word document, and you have to use something called macros, and it gets quite technical. So that's why people like myself that are partners, there's other partners out there, we create forms and we sell forms to people. There is a form store, which you'll see loads of things listed in. I'm not actually on the form store purely because mainly we only do builds for clients that are working with us as mentees, like a part of our coaching program. But I can just sell forms. So if you do sign up to ServiceMate and you're not in Alliance, we can sell you the forms and get them set up for you. So let me show you sort of like what the form sort of setup is. So here, this is where it's all built. Okay. So all the questions, and obviously you can imagine trying to do that on your own could be quite time consuming. But then behind that, there is I was hoping I could just preview. I'm going to have to fill it out. Let me see if I can just do something. One sec. Don't know if that will work. 1 second. I'm just going to load up the bev. You can't see that though, can you? So let me go here and go there. Sorry guys, I'll be there in a second.
So the beauty of this, again, for guys who haven't had any experience with using a software like this, and perhaps let's use gas and heating, because that's the business that we're showcasing. If you're using paper forms and you're filling everything in manually all of the time, you can pre-populate these forms with all the necessary information about your business, and then it just basically elevates it to the next level, because you've got your trade accreditation logos on the bottom. obviously your business logo at the top, or wherever you want to put it. You can do the forms with different designs, different colors. Mine's got more blues on it. Wayne's has got the oranges on it. And then you also have the added bonus of adding pictures. So if you're doing, obviously Wayne's showing you the CP12, if you're doing, let's say, a lot of diagnostics work in your business, fault finding on domestic boilers, you can have a form built called a job report form that Wayne's showing you now. And what, in my opinion, this becomes invaluable because you can fill this thing with data. Let's be honest, customers only really see perceived value. If you're doing boiler breakdowns and you walk into the house and you go and you do your diagnostic work and you go, oh yeah, there needs a new fan, love, I'll text you with the price, and then you leave, there's going to be a real limitation to how much you can charge for doing something like that. Whereas if you have a nicely populated form using ServiceMate as a whole, booking confirmations, booking windows, text messages when the engineer's on his way, which Wayne will go through a bit more in a minute. But the form itself becomes a value metric for the customer. So once you've done the work, let's say, a common scenario, the wife was at home and the husband wasn't. That's, if you've just verbally told the wife what's wrong, it's going to be difficult for her to relay that to the husband when he gets home from work. You pre-populate a form, you can itemize everything that's gone on, attended site, see, boiler not working, carried out fault finding diagnostics, continuity testing, voltage testing, whatever you had to do to check the work. And then fill it with pictures of you doing your work, doing your testing. If it's a leak, pictures of the leak. Pictures you've isolated it, completely populate it. You can leave that with the customer. In this scenario, leave it with the wife. Take your payment and leave. That way, when the husband comes home, he's like, well, what did we actually pay for? And she can just present this form to him, and it's then written out. So all of our engineers, they write it in very much in layman's terms, really bulletproof, bullet point everything, attended site, identified fault on boiler, and so on and so forth. That way it's very easily digestible. And only by implementing something like that can you charge real money for doing something like a fault find. It's just one example for it. Otherwise, people just aren't going to see the value in saying, well, it needs this, now pay me some money. People just don't see it like that.
Yeah, and the more value you can bring, the perceived value, the more you can charge and the more you can make, isn't it? It really is as simple as that. You can see here, though, like we've obviously, I run a heating company, so these are gas forms, but we can also do heat pump forms, oil forms. I don't do electrical forms at the minute because what I found is most electricians like to use their specific one, but there's no reason why they couldn't be done. Some like the job report form for me is really handy because it just, like what Andy says, it just puts it all in one place and puts the pictures in and gets things going, and the customer can see what's been done, why it's been done, etc. So that's your form section. You got an email inbox. So that basically is a built-in inbox section here. So you can see here that I've got a couple of quotes that the supplier has sent over. So basically, when you go into email inbox, basically gives you a unique email. Okay. So you can give that email to anyone that you might want to send in. So when we used to do work for estate agents, we would they would email the works orders in to the system so that then the office would just basically click here. They could convert it to a job. It would attach any PDFs and just makes life a lot easier. Again, though, having the inbox here, like if customers reply, so you can see here, Marge Phillips, for example, here, she's replied saying that the pressure's gone low. Again, it just all the communications just flowing into the software and can be actioned accordingly. Then you've got allocation windows. So if you do specific windows like AM, PM, or 1 to 3 or 5 to 7, you can basically build out customized allocation windows for the jobs. So you can choose here what those allocations are, and you can add new allocation windows. So very, very customizable. Then you have knowledge articles. So here you can actually start to create a library for people in the business. So it becomes a bit of a process management. You can add knowledge here. So you can add a video, an article, or attach an existing knowledge. But if I just go into here, basically here, look, you can just create the title. Obviously, this was just done as an example, but you could basically have the process of how you want that call to be taken. And then anybody within the business can just go to the knowledge section up here. I think it's up here. How do they get to it? Where is it? How did you get to it, Andy? Or is it just through there now, mate? Oh, it used to be up in the menu there. But basically, if you want to start logging how things are done in the business, you can create a library within there. And then when you're bringing in new staff, you can help train them. The system also has something where
things, but...
yeah, it did, didn't it? It used to have its own button up here. I'm sure it was up here. Hey ho. I don't use this. I've only used it a couple of times, but if you do work for other companies on ServiceMate, you can actually send jobs to each other through the network request. So you can basically add a network contact. So if I was to add Andy, for example, I could then send Andy a job through the system. So again, if you're subcontracting or you're going to contract out to people, it can just streamline the process. So you're not having to deal with emails and faffing about. You've got a simple online inquiry form, which you can embed on your website. So again, the customers can fill that out and come straight into the system, and it would come into your inbox and you'd be notified. Then you have online booking. So for anyone that doesn't do online booking, the first thing people say is, oh, I don't want customers to sort of dictate when I can come. Yes, I 100%, it can be a pain, but over 50, I'd say nearly 60% of my annual servicing now gets booked through online booking, because all of the reminders through Sales Lion and everything are going out with links to the online booking. I would much rather they book in, and then on the odd occasion that the diary, it like looks, the travel's a bit of a nightmare or whatever, then the office can just ring up and say, oh, look, sorry, can we just rearrange this to suit the engineer a little bit more? I find for my business, it works absolutely perfectly. Very odd occasion, do we need to rearrange someone? And it also, you know, I don't know about you, but like the days of ringing up and waiting to hear back and sort of, oh, can you do Monday at 2? No, I can't do Friday. I can do Friday at 5. Well, I can't do Friday. Back there. Fuck, excuse my French. Sod all of that, right? Let them just book on and go online, choose a diary slot, effortless. They put all their details in. You can actually like get them to agree to your terms and conditions. You can make them pay a deposit or pay in full. And it gives you back some level of control over it. So that is a huge, for me, the online booking is a huge bonus that is available within the system. Again, completely customizable. So let me
you can work around as well. A lot of people have that objection, like you were saying, about letting people do that, but you can work around that. If you're just on your own, you're more likely to be working in a smaller area anyway. You can do booking windows on ServiceMate as well. So you can choose the size of the booking window, anything from, you could just do it as an hour. So it'll give you, if you book it in for 10 o'clock, it'll give them a window either side. So it'll be 9:30 till 10:30, or you can stretch that out as long as you choose. So we use a 4-hour booking window. What that allows you to do then, if somebody books that in, it will give them the 4-hour booking window. It gives you 4 hours there to adjust that job to suit the diary. If you've got multiple members of staff, you can drag that job to him and move that one back down to him and swap the days around really easily. And like Wayne said, there's always going to have to be some give and take, because especially if you've not got a sizable admin team that can be on the phone dealing with all this, ideally you want someone to do the legwork for you, book it in themselves using the online booking form. It's going to give them that 4-hour window. And then if you need to, you can make those adjustments accordingly. You can set how long or how little in advance they can do that as well. So what you could do, you could set it so that they can't book. They have to book it a week or more in advance, for example. So then it's not just going to get dropped on your plate for the next day.
Yeah.
And then like
Wayne said, that's a massive bonus. Like we have it set for 48 hours so that we're not, it gives us time to deal with it should you need to. Yeah.
And then you can do it up to like sort of 6 weeks, I think is the maximum. It does it for 6 weeks in advance. So we have it 7 days to 6 weeks for the service work, and then we have 48 hours for boiler breakdowns. And then what we implement as well with the breakdown work is they need to pay in advance, so they will need to pay when they're booking the job in.
And that would have just come up as like a normal online card payment, doesn't it? They just put their details in. It just feels natural. There's no like awkwardness to it. It just flows and works basically. I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to speed up a little bit here. So you can actually link your external calendars as well. So if you use Google or Outlook, you can bring that information from one to the other, like vice versa. So you can have your Google Calendar stuff show up in ServiceMate, and your ServiceMate stuff show up in Google or Outlook. You can add your suppliers. So when you're within a job, you can easily email or message any suppliers that you've got. These are just your account settings. Then you've got these two cool features, email and SMS templates. So here you can build out pre-written messages or emails to save time, basically. So if you've got a message that you want to set, like you want to sell care plans, for example, you could create a SMS template so that when you're in that job, at one click of a button on the job, you can send them that text message when you're ready to send it. You can use templates for parts ordering, so it sends them a message that you've ordered the parts, etc. And basically, like here, you can see some of them. So you've got, if I go in here, so you can see here's a care plan one. So it's all pre-written, ready to go. I can send this message to the customer literally within, I want to say 3 seconds, no copying and pasting, no mucking about, just nice and simple from the system. Obviously, you can, all of these different templates there, you can add as many as you want as well. And the same goes for email. It just looks exactly the same, but just an email. Then we have something called job templates. These are very powerful. So the point of a system is to make your life easier. If you're having to repeat yourself all of the time, then the system isn't doing its job. So job templates give us the ability to customize, create something that we're going to use a lot. So for example, a boiler service, right? Standard job. Okay. So within here, we've got it titled as boiler service. And then if you remember the badges that I spoke about earlier and the automations, here you can see these jobs are already assigned with a gas safety certificate attached, a job follow-up message, a booking reminder, and a boiler reminder. Then there's a preset checklist that I've created here to make sure that jobs are being done. And then more importantly, in the billing section here, then you can obviously choose whether it's VAT, no VAT, whatever, change the price. But it means that when we create a job in this job, we don't have to add all of that information. The billing information is already there. All we've got to do is add the customer details. And then as you can see here in my business, I've got 8 templates. So we've got heat and repair, warmer home, which is our care plans, boiler service and repair, installation quote, gas safety, warranty callback, and repair quote. And each one of those is bespokely made so that it displays the information that is needed. So you can see here, this one's slightly different, hasn't got as much badges applied, etc. And the billing will probably be different as well there. Yeah. So again, another very cool, powerful bit that just, if you can save, imagine you can save like 20 seconds per job, but you're doing 1,000 jobs. That's a lot of time, isn't it? So it's definitely worth honing in on making all of these little bits work for you and your business.
Yeah, it's imagine this way: if you're doing a lot of the same kind of work, let's take a line item job such as a boiler service or a boiler breakdown where it's a standardized price. Okay, you might have a couple of different ones. So we have an urgent, a non-urgent, and an out of hours, such as a Saturday. But you can template all of them so they're ready to go. What that can allow you to do then is, if someone books that job in, you straight into the template, all you're putting in is their details, you punch it into the system, and then you allocate a booking to that job, and it's done. Then the reminders start, the notifications start. Then if you want, you can just quickly fire them out an invoice as well. So, a job like a boiler breakdown, you're gonna want to take that payment up front. You're not going to want to wait till the job's done. So you can fire that payment out straight away. They can get the automation, they can get the templates that Wayne's just shown you. Here's your, you can do email templates. So then basically when it sends them the invoice out, you can say, here's your invoice. This is to confirm your booking. Fire it out and it's done. They can pay, the job's done. And then your engineers are not taking payment on site. Or a common sort of mistake a lot of guys are making, which is something that was more done in the past, is having someone manually sending out invoicing, which was either someone in the admin team or usually the business owner, sat at home till 11 o'clock at night sending out invoicing. You can do this within split seconds. Bang, bang, bang. The job's booked in, the invoice has been sent, and you're done, basically.
Yeah, exactly that. So just to quickly finish up so we can open up to some Q&A. So the dispatch board is where like the meat and veggies, basically, right? So if anyone that was watching while Andy was talking there, you can see there's that folder that I created earlier, and then I just assigned a job to it. So again, it's just good. Like, so say this was a real job that Andy needed to look at for whatever reason. All he would have to do is click this folder and it would come up in the list over here. Or if he goes to the queue section, you can see it's in his little file over here. So really, really good for just keeping on top of things. So if within your business, say your engineer has gone out and looked at the job, but you need to quote, you could have a folder called needs quoting, and then your engineer assigns it to the quoting folder. So then when you get to the office to do a bit of your off the tools work, you can then just easily know what needs to be done and where it all is and whatever information is it. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to create a test job just to show you how quick and easy it is. All right. So let's go up here. You can see all these are the job templates that I talked about earlier. So let's just use a boiler service because it's just a nice clean example. Now we have something called the job card. So within the job card, we can now add a customer, either a new customer or search the existing database. But because we've used a template, it's already got the category assigned. It's already got the checklists all assigned. It's already got the badges assigned. It's already got the billing information already built out ready for us. So all I've got to do here is find the customer that I want to book this into. Okay. So let's just create a test one for me. So I'm just going to book that in here. So because I was already in the system, it's obviously added my address, my name, and then there should be some contact details down here. And then literally you've got a few different options when it comes to scheduling. Okay. You can click this button here and then it brings up a pop-up, and then you can choose the engineer that you want to book it to. So let's say I want to book it to Lewis, and let's say for whatever reason, this one's an hour and a half and I want to book it on the 11th and I want to book it at 9 a.m. Then I can press save here and off it goes, right? Goes off and gets booked in, which I'll show you where that will go now in a second. What you can also do in this view, you can press booking link, okay? It won't work because Lewis isn't assigned to do boiler servicing because he's not qualified. So, but if I click booking link, what that will do is that will take the data that I put in, so the job details, the address, etc., sends them a link to the online calendar for them just to choose a date. So we find it quite handy. We can set the parameters. So if I get, it might be because I put a time in there. 1 sec. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So basically, if you only want to do, say, that landlord job on a Thursday, the 17th of March, you set the date, send the booking link, and then it'll only give them the times available on that day. So quite handy for tenants, or if you've got, if you know you're in a certain area on a certain day. But that's just a cool little feature. Alternatively, with this setting, if we chose, let's say 8:30 a.m. and I press save, and then I come out of here, now you can see, look, there's that job. That's the job we just booked in for Lewis there. Alternatively, I'm going to just cancel that booking. Okay. And I'm just going to go to unscheduled jobs, which is there. You'll now see, because it's not scheduled in, you'll now see the job card over here. You can literally just drag it and drop it wherever you want it. So let's say you're going to go for 12 o'clock, choose the staff member, and you just press save. And that books it in as simple and easy as that. And then if I wanted to say, actually, that needs an extra 2 hours, you can just drag it and expand it, and that adapts it to the times that you do it on. Anything else you wanted to add into this section while I was here, Andy?
No.
No.
So I think it's such an expansive piece of software. We could sit here for hours and hours and hours. But I think we just got to get this overview done, really, haven't we?
I think we've covered all of the main features. Okay. And I know I've been talking very fast. So I appreciate if you've kept up. Thank you very much. But that hopefully has showcased sort of the main functionalities of the software. There are other bits to the software that can be done, and it's very customizable. So there's lots that can be done sort of away from what we've shown you. So there's so many like different. Let me just quickly before we open to Q&A. So when you start to look at, so the next webinar, for example, is on SalesLine. Okay, anyone that comes on that, what I've been talking about today, where I've dropped in a few bits where I've said about automating and connecting up with APIs and that will make more sense. But once you start to think outside the box and be like, okay, so if I do an action over here, I can make it do X, Y, and Z over there. The world's your oyster. There's so much stuff that you can do. So for example, we have it. So if we select that boiler service job, the minute that job is created, behind the scenes, it's zapped over to SalesLine. The customer gets a bespoke email and text message confirming that they've booked a boiler service, the costings, and then we also add a bit about potential case seals and burner gaskets that might be needed. Our terms and conditions are attached. We have that set up for all of the main job types. So if you book a boiler breakdown, it will send out an automated text and email confirming what their booking entails, you know, what to expect, how much, what's included, what's not included. Same for power flushing, same for boiler install quotes. There's so much that you can do. You know, I literally could sit here for the next day, basically talking through all of the different sort of scenarios where the system can be done. But I think you've heard enough of me. Andy, if you've got anything specific to say, please do. If anyone's got any questions or anything that they want to bring to the table, we've got about 10, 15 minutes. More than happy to answer some questions. If there are no questions, then we'll end it and go from there. But hopefully, have you kept up to date with the comments, Andy? I haven't literally looked until now. So is there anything that needs addressing straight off the bat?
No, not got anything else left. There's a few quite a few people who are watching who haven't interacted too much, which is, as we know, normal thing for these webinars. So, yeah, one of the questions earlier was obviously, is it a paid software and how much is it? You know, a very common comparison on the forums is, well, I'm paying, like, someone might have Gas Engineer software, for example, which is a very cheap software because it's a templated software. So they can add infinite number of users and you know, so on and so forth. But ServiceMate, the beauty of ServiceMate is it's customizable. So Wayne's got the monthly pricing structure up there for us. And obviously there's a build cost if you choose to get it built, but you can try and build it yourself. The reality is, if you want a really premium piece of software, you're probably going to want to get it built. What we do find is a lot of lads in the alliance, they might start looking at it on the free trial that I posted the link for earlier. I'll post it again in a minute. But what you quickly find is, unless you're a really, really techie person, which the likelihood is you're probably not, because then you'd probably be in a different industry. So it's usually quite a lot easier to just get it built out. Once it's built, though, that's it. It's done. And then it's just the monthly fee. And as you can see, they're not particularly much. And if you're moving towards one of the higher plans, then the likelihood is your business is already scaled to a level where it's quite an inconsequential amount of money anyway.
Yeah. Most people stick around the 60 quid a month. I find most people are sitting around there. I'm on the premium one myself. But
yeah, we're only on the premium one, despite how many jobs we churn through. You know, it's enough.
Yeah, definitely.
So I've just got a question here. My company only works with estate agents, property management companies. Instruction derived to us via an email PDF is a way to automate the data. So
where there's a will, there's a way. So there's definitely a way to automate it. It might need to go through Zapier first to be able to extract the data. So bare minimum, you can have that email and PDF land in the system, so that the information is in ServiceMate, and it's just a matter of like opening the PDF and then creating the job from it, but the PDF will be attached. What we could potentially do is use something called an email parser. Okay, so what that does is that basically it lands the email in a middle software. Then from that PDF, we extract the data like the tenant's name, details, etc., etc., and then that information could potentially be put in to ServiceMate. So short answer is it's probably possible, but how much it would cost to sort of set it up to make it seamless, I wouldn't know without having a bit more information. Maybe Rakesh, you could send me an example of the estate agent email that you get, and I could have a little play and see what I think, see if I think it's achievably at a sort of low cost, or whether it's going to be quite technical or whatever. So that's open to you
as well. Obviously, once that site has been added and that data has been added, then it's obviously stored within the system. So to reference something like an annual gas safety cert, once that's already in the system, when you get your work order via a PDF, then the data will already be in the system if you've done work for them before. Yes, the tenant's name might have changed, but the address is going to be there. The site address and the billing address are going to be the same. It might just be a simple editing of the tenant's name. And again, based on the job templates that Wayne went through before, the likelihood is also with that, there'll be a pre-built job template for the work that you're doing. Obviously, the common one in your industry, the type of work that you're mentioning, is going to be the gas safety certs. So that would be, once you've already done that job for that particular address, then it's seconds to rebook it again.
Yeah, no, bang on. Neil's got a question about two businesses. So Neil, just one other clarification. Are they separate businesses, as in legally separate businesses? Because what you could potentially do is run it invoice templates. So if they are the same business, but you're just running two different things, then you could have it on as just a lawn care invoice or a eco cleaning invoice that looks different, has different branding on, etc., etc. Sorry, Neil, is that yes? They are separate businesses. Sorry, mate, I was waffling. Just clarify. So say yes if they are separate legal entity, but two separate limited companies, right? Okay, so in that instance, then that would be a little bit more difficult because of the invoicing side of things. So in essence, you would really need two ServiceMates basically to make that efficient. Is there any reason they are separate? Could it be housed in one, or is it just like different businesses and needs to be separate? Because otherwise it would mean getting two ServiceMate subscriptions, because they don't currently do like a package where you can sort of have multiple businesses within one login. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you'd probably run in two browsers, wouldn't you, open on your website?
Yeah, in essence, you'd have to have like two browsers open. One is going to be set up as a okay, yeah. So they did actually have, I don't know if they've discontinued it, but they did have like a franchise module, but then it sort of disappeared. But I don't know if it's still in the back end. So it might be worth reaching out to the technical support through ServiceMate and asking if they do, or if they plan to bring back the franchise add-on, because that would obviously, from a franchising point of view, you'd want to have all that information in one place for all the different franchisees and stuff, wouldn't you?
So for this one, I'm guessing it's a meal. I could be wrong. So it tends to vary. So obviously we're using it day in, day out. We're using it from 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. And it does seem to ebb and flow. One thing I am aware of is that they used to pretty much exclusively do a single annual upgrade of the software, but now they're basically doing it constantly. What they are spending a lot of time working on is perfecting the AI. So accounts like mine and Wayne's are being test beds for the out of hours AI calling software. And they're putting a lot of time and effort into working that, but they're also putting AI into other aspects of it. Wayne showed it before. The AI in the annual leave section is a tasty bit of cake, because you can just say basically, engineer Wayne finishes work at 5:30 p.m. every day. please set this as his finish time, and it will lock his diary out then for the rest of that, which is the little things like that, which are really tasty. But I'm aware that they are almost always in the back end of the software at the minute, perfecting things like that, which would explain why it has been a little bit more laggy in certain times of the day, presumably when Australia is working.
I was going to say when Australia wake up, I'm guessing it probably slows down.
Yeah,
but
sometimes it's fine, sometimes it's laggy.
But the good thing about ServiceMate is they do react. So when there are problems, which all software has problems at different stages, they're very quick at solving immediate problems. So the best thing you can do is, if you're finding it laggy, is to reach out to them through the support and let them know, because they do tend to sort things out, so it could just be that you've missed an update on your app, or it could end. What I find as well is, if you're running it through a browser on a desktop, it can clog up. So I like to clear is it cache? Is that how you say it? The CACHE, whatever. Clearing that, because behind the scenes, ServiceMate is using and downloading a lot of stuff happening. So by clearing the cache out fairly regularly, seems to keep everything sort of oiled and moving a bit quicker.
Yeah, so you can lock out start and finish time. So this is something that I was actually playing with very recently, because what we had to do is, obviously we have, as I mentioned before, an admin girl who starts at 5 p.m. and works till 9 p.m. In the week, and then she does Saturdays as well. So what we had to do is add basically a working hours section for that. Otherwise, her work phone would be ringing all day. So basically, obviously with the business open to 8 a.m., all of the calls coming in would have been making her phone ring, 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 ring. So we then locked out her daytime section, and then conversely locked out the girls who work during the daytime, locked out them from 5:30. So then their phones aren't ringing through the evening. And then you can, again, as the team grows, you can do it for engineers. So some of our engineers work staggered patterns. So for example, one starts at 9, whereas another one starts at 8:30, another one starts at 8. Another one tries to start at 7:30 when it's not supposed to. So you can lock the time shifts accordingly to when they work. And then it allows the girls in the office to know the working times of those particular engineers.
Yeah. Again, it's just makes life easy, doesn't it? Someone mentioned about the chat feature. The chat feature is available. It's just only open in Australian times, I believe. So right now I can start a chat, unless I'm seeing something that others aren't.
Yeah, we use the chat all the time. It's
I was going to say, as far as I know, the chat is working. It's just on Australian time. So you need to get on wherever that works. So have a little look. If you log in now, you should be able to see it. Ben asked, how do you get help? So if you're on a desktop, there's a little help symbol, question mark symbol at the top. If you click that and then click help center, then that will load up the help center, which then the pop-up chat will pop up, or you can just go through the actual Q&As that are built in. Is that to lock them out of the holes? Oh, sorry.
So basically, it will show on the desktop that it shows as annual leave basically on the desktop. So if somebody tried to book in, so let's say one of the admin girls tried to book in a job for an engineer when it was outside of his working hours, it won't let them. It will tell them that there's a booking conflict. So it shows them what it's for. Obviously, the example I gave was for the office staff, and the leave can prevent their phones from ringing, but it works the same way, but differently for the engineers. It will then prompt the office team booking the job in that there's a conflict now, because you're booking a job in when the engineer has annual leave set, which in this scenario is the finish time. So it does the same thing, but in a different perspective.
So I hope that answered your question there. Right, we're getting toward.
Sorry, I'm saying, yeah, they can still access ServiceMate. It's not going to shut the phone off. I'm not sure why you would want to do that, to be honest with you, because like a lot of our engineers like to look at the jobs that they've got the next day. They might sit down in an evening and look at what they've got for the next day and read through the job cards and the notes and things like that.
So someone else has put, Daniela has put, the chat hasn't been working in England for about a week now and the service appears. Okay. So I'm still seeing it. What I'll do is I will ask the question, is chat support available for all users in the UK? So I've just submitted that on the ServiceMate help chat. What I'll do is I'll post a link to the ServiceMate WhatsApp group that we've got. So anyone that wants to join and learn more about ServiceMate and that, you can, but you can also then obviously, once I get the answer to that question, I will post.
You might be doing an update of some kind, maybe, or
maybe
more AI built into that chat, because a lot of questions could quite easily be answered through AI. I imagine there's a lot of the simpler questions.
So come and join the WhatsApp group, and then I can give you a post. I've not seen chat all week either. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I've submitted a report, or not a report, a question. So if they answer in the next minute, I'll update you. But if not, I'll update you in the WhatsApp group if you choose to join. I've just posted the link to the chat so that you can keep up to date. Because although this is a evening session, we do random ones in the day sometimes. You know, if some of our members are wanting some extra support, so definitely come and join the chat, because you can then stay up to date with any future ServiceMate discussions or podcasts or anything that we're doing. All right. Any closing thoughts, Andy? Anything you want to say? Anyone got any last questions before we wrap up for the evening?
No, anyone have any other questions? Yeah, drop it join the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
And if obviously anyone wants to learn a little bit more about what we do in Off the Tools, head on over and give us a follow, join the Facebook group, or start having a listen to the podcast. Most people come through to Off the Tools via the podcast, so it is obviously free. You can listen to all of the podcasts if you like, listen to them all, draw that data you want from it, whatever suits you. You can just be a silent listener if you want, or if you ever want to get a little bit more information about what we do, then there you go, there's the link. You can reach out to me and Wayne. It's free to reach out and have a chat to us.
Yeah. Oh, and one last thing. We've got one more webinar planned for next month. We will be doing more if people want them. If you go onto the Off the Tools website, one of the buttons says webinar, and it will show you when. I'm trying to get it up, but I can't bring it up. It's not coming up. There you go. It is going to be all things Sales Lion, which is a sales and marketing software, and that is due to be being done on April the 7th at 7 p.m. You can register online if you just go to the Off the Tools website and click webinars in the menu. It'd be good to see some of you. There you go. Andy's on it. He's on it. So yeah, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully you found some value in tonight. Hopefully you can see what is available within ServiceMate. And more importantly, whether you use ServiceMate or not, hopefully it's prompted you to look at job management systems, because if you're not using something that can do all of this sort of stuff, then you're going to get left behind. And it might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow, but in the short to medium term, everyone around you is going to be doing this level of service to their customers. They're going to have automations, they're going to have custom forms and procedures, and they're going to look professional and organized. So if you're not doing that, you're going to get left behind. So at the very least, if there's just one thing that you take from tonight, and it's the fact that you need to up your game, please do. The podcast, there's like what we on 20 new episodes, 18 new episodes in the since November. There's over 130 episodes, you know, from over the last 5 years, but a lot of them, the last sort of 16 to 18 have all been me and Andy been done in the last, you know, month or two. So it's all very up to date, relevant stuff.
There's an episode as well where we talk about software stack, the one that we mentioned before. So the big 4 pieces of software that most lads, all the lads, sorry, in Off the Tools use, which is obviously ServiceMate is one of those, which we've spoke about tonight. Sales Lion is obviously we're talking about on the next one, which is the other piece of this is a CRM software. There was a lot of questions tonight about linking ServiceMate with other pieces of software. Sales Lion is one of those pieces of software that we link it with Zapier, and it's a CRM, so it's a communication software and a marketing software. So that one is not to be missed as well.
So I've just had a response from ServiceMate, and their answer was, yes, chat support is available to all users regardless of location. So then I've replied saying, okay, getting some reports that it's not for some at the moment. In what way is it not working? So I think they said that there's just no option on the system. Is that correct? Anyone that's having that problem, it's just, you're just not getting the option at the minute. Is that right? If anyone wants to, well, there's not really a screenshot or anything you can share about that, is there? I don't think. It's just not there. So they're saying it is available. So my guess is that there maybe is a glitch somewhere, and hopefully maybe we've just highlighted it and they'll get on it and get it fixed. But I'll keep you guys posted on in the here we go. If they don't see it in the help page, they can go to the main ServiceMate website. So if you're not seeing it in the help page, they're saying go to the main ServiceMate.com website, and you should then have the chat pop up, should come up. So hopefully that solves that problem for some of you. We cannot see the icon at all. Okay, maybe Daniela, if you contact them directly, maybe there's something going wrong specifically, or just try what I said there by going to the main ServiceMate.com website and seeing if it pops up there for you.
Are you guys doing this on the app or something?
I'm just going to check on the app as well, just quickly. More.
No, I've got it. I can see the chat's there on the app. Literally, just click more help, and you go straight into the chat function.
No, see, mine's just going to the help, like files, not the help on the phone.
It's got the section at the bottom saying "Ask a question."
Yeah, I don't think that's the chat though. Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, that is, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think that's the AI though. I don't think that is the main. I think they've changed something there, haven't they? Maybe it's only available on the desktop. Try it on the desktop, Daniela, and see if that solves it for you. But anyway, we'll continue the chat in the WhatsApp group. Hope you've had a good evening, ladies and gents, and we'll carry on the chat in the group. All right.
Later, guys.
See you later.